here since 12. Uh, we belong here, and I'm excited to dive into the last panel, which Calixto and I were ideating. I was like, Calixto, I want this to really be intentional. And that's what Off the Cuff is, right? It's about giving people their flowers. And when we had curated programming, we started with mental health. How do you continue to dive into the road of healing? So let's tap in, stay right with the mental. And we just like, how do you continue to amplify and take somebody to the next level? Finance, more. So how do you break into wealth? Get your money right, get your pockets right, and then just recently we had our friends here at Meta to say, this is how you get involved with the community, without it, do culture programs. And last but not least, through all of that, no matter how far you go, it's about how do you leave a legacy, how do you leave an impact, how do you create generational wealth, not only for the person that's sitting next to you, but for the people that are behind you. Right? For that person all the way in the back that may have an idea in their notes or an idea that they don't know what they want to tap into, this is where it starts. This is legacy. So I'm excited to transition over to invite the panelists. But Calixto, thank you so much just for leaving our vision, leaving me the opportunity, because this is a full circle moment. No matter rate for every frame here.
And hang tight, because at the end we're gonna have some drinks, some merriment, some Yabe tequila in the building. So we're gonna turn around this room, and then at the end we're gonna take a big picture with all of you. So hang tight, and let's invite these people.
Let's do it. Alrighty, how we feeling today? One more time, because the energy gotta be, we're gonna be impactful in here. How we feeling today? There it is. So I'm excited, I'm honored, I'm thrilled, I'm humbled to be moderating this last panel, to bring it all home for a full circle moment. It's about discovering your passion, about leaving an impact, how do you create legacy around. So to start off, I want to invite, let's get it, my guy Alex Media, who is the founder of WT Media Studios, and as well as co-host of Fragrance 2. He's been doing some phenomenal work. I'm just excited to have him here to share space and energy. I also want to invite, I just want to make sure I go in order and stuff. My guy Christian King, comedian, actor, host as well. Really funny story about this. Christian and I were on the phone, and I told you I was gonna share this. We're on the phone, and he's like, "Can I speak to Christian?" I'm like, "Wait, who's speaking?" He's like, "Christian." I'm like, "Wait, huh?" I was like, "Can I speak to Christian?" I'm like, "Again, who's speaking?" He's like, "Christian." And we go back and forth until like for a good strong minute of just like Christian to Christian, and then we finally realized who each other were.
I was like, C King. He was like, hey, what's up?
And I was like, yeah, ever seen the movie Rush Hour? He's like, hey, what's your name?
Yeah.
You. It's literally a classic there. So I'm hyped, I'm honored. We have next Gabe P, who is the founder of On the Radar. Got Gabe P here in the building. And then, of course, we have the lovely Juani Velez joining us with the actress. Feliz Navidad. Come on, I know. Juani Velez. Thank you so much for joining me. So I kind of wanted to kick it off here and really dive into it, because I think it's important for us to kind of have this full circle moment, right? When you think about passion, when you think about legacy, I really want to tap into that. So can you take us back to kind of memory lane when you feel like you first uncovered and discovered that passion? What was that feeling? What we're going to do is popcorn style. So we're going to go down the line for the first one, but for any, I'm all about energy, right? So if there's anything you want to chime in, let's do it. But we can go down the line there. Start with you guys.
So for me, it was acting.
Check. All right, good. So for me, it was hard trying to find my lane. I tried like so many different things. I was a nurse at one time. I was in law enforcement at another time. It's like, I know I wanted to service, like give some type of service, but I didn't find what my passion was. And then I started editing a little bit, started reaching out to certain people, and I got good at it. They started requesting my services, and then I couldn't do both jobs, and I had to choose at that point. And yeah, from then on, I just never looked back because it was like, I'm passionate about this. It doesn't feel like work. I'll sit there, edit for 12 hours a day, and it's just like, this was a fun day. So I think it was just that moment of like trying to find something that made me happy. And then from there, I jumped to studios and podcasting and TV.
I guess I'll go next since me and Alex are kind of in like the same lane. It was around the time that I was in college. I had went to school. I went to St. John's in Queens. Yeah, I went to St. John's in Queens for business marketing, and I think I found the radio station my first week of school there, and the radio station was it kind of reminded me of like a lot of the friends I had in high school and the environments that I was used to being in, especially because I was very creative in high school. I painted, I played 5 instruments, but I knew that those things weren't what I was gonna do in life. And the radio station kind of just felt like home. And I had, grown up listening to Angie Martinez. In high school when The Breakfast Club was early in its days, I would watch The Breakfast Club, listen to The Breakfast Club. And I think there was one day where I was in my calculus class, which is the class that made you take for a business major. And she handed me the quiz. And I literally looked at it and I said, I have no idea what any of this means. And I gave it back to her and I just walked out the class, went to the radio station, and I just did my first radio show. And then I switched, like a couple weeks later, I switched my major to communications. So from then on, and then, eventually having those we talking about full circle moments, and then Angie Martinez ended up being the one who brought me into the game and brought me into the industry. I think that's like one of those, thank you. I think that kind of just goes to show, like, one, you never know where life's gonna put you at, but as long as you're working towards and you following the path that it's putting you on, you're gonna have those full circle moments. You're gonna find your passion. And that passion is gonna make you money. You just have to stay the course.
So it's funny. It's funny that you asked that question. I just a couple days ago, I got a phone call from this guy named Jay Ike, and he's a poet. He was on Kanye's College Dropout, and he asked me. He said, I need a good intro for the album, and he asked that similar question. And he knows I do impressions. So he was like, I just need something, just give me something about, same topic that we're talking up here. And it was basically the moment that I knew that I had a gift. The moment that you knew you had purpose. And I answered him in my famous Denzel impression. I sent him a voice note and I said, I don't know why I did that. He couldn't see me. But I jumped into it. I was like, the moment that I knew that I had a gift or purpose was when I felt the satisfaction, and not from others, but from myself. You got trends. You got, things that everybody does to make themselves happy. But I knew for myself that I had a gift because I was satisfied with the work that I had done. Okay? Right and center. So I quit my job, like the Beyonce song says. And the psalmist Beyonce, and I was happy about it, and I was hesitant to tell my mom because she had worked all of our lives without our father's presence. All of our lives, I seen her work this post office job. She used to have letters sticking to her heels when she came home. Like, it was crazy. Like, she's dedicated to her work, and I thought, my mom is a survivalist. My mom is hard work. My mom is this. You gotta have a job. So when I quit, I said, and I'm gonna have to butter her up for this one. I'm gonna be living in mom's house. I ain't got no job. So I took her out to a fancy restaurant with my last check. And I said, Ma, you know, in pursuing what I'm doing, I said, Ma, I quit my job. And you know that when you do something or you say something and you like kind of flinch because you think that you're just going, so. Yeah, I know the audience because I was asking. Let me not get off track. But I told her, I said, Ma, I quit my job, and she said, well, it's about time. And she, come on, shout out to the moms. And I begin to find passion. I begin to find peace and happiness with the gift that God gave me.
All right, so I would say like my biggest passion is acting and storytelling. And I've never shared this publicly, but growing up, I used to have 13 imaginary friends. And I used to just impersonate each of these friends, and I had a novela going on in my head. They were sleeping with each other, cheating on each other, fighting each other. There were siblings involved, family drama. And it was just like, I would just talk to myself all day impersonating my different 13 imaginary friends. So when I did a play when I was like in the 8th grade. It was like my first play and first introduction to acting. And that's when it just clicked to me that like, whoa, this is like what I want to do. Like, you know, just step into new characters and just storytelling that way. Because it's either I was going to have a personality disorder, a multiple personality disorder, or I was just going to be an actor. That's kind of how it felt, you know? So when it clicked, I was just like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. But in addition to being like creative, like with my little sisters and my little cousins, I used to like make them do like music videos and used to like direct them in doing music videos. We did the first live action Proud Family episode. You know, I assigned them all a character and we just recorded a whole episode. One of my sisters is here. She's traumatized for those days. And so like that creative side was just like very vivid for me. But in the same token, I was a book nerd. I was really into science. And when I went to college, that's something that I was interested in exploring. And I went into the biomedical engineering route. And I worked in that field for over 5 years in biotech and working in labs and doing cancer research and all of that. So that's also a passion of mine as well. And it was just like utilizing two completely different sides of my brain. But ultimately, you know, I did go into the bioengineering field. I loved it. I still love it. Have so much respect for people that are in it. Acting was always just like burning inside me. I always knew that I would come back to it. And I would say like that's my passion right now, you know, acting and storytelling. But that's kind of how all of that started. My 13 imaginary friends.
I know it's a writer's strike going on, but I would actually love to see that play.
Same.
13 Imaginary Friends.
A one-woman show.
See, there it is.
There it is. This is so amazing. It's almost like you could see the vibration kind of go down the line. And you know, I want to lean into just a little bit more about taking that leap, right? Or taking that leap of faith, because sometimes you got to take a bet on yourself. You know, we may be working 9 to 5s right now. They may not necessarily fulfill us, right? Or because they don't fulfill us, we start tackling a 5 to 9, right? And sometimes working a 9 to 9 could be tough, right? So, Gabe, I know you have an experience of tapping into that because I know you majored in business, right? You talked about that calculus class that really wasn't aligning, and you did communications, but like, at what point did you feel like you wanted to just take a bet on yourself and just like, you know, by all means, this is something you wanted to dive into?
I think like if we talking about like a point in my life where I took a bet on myself, so before I graduated college, like I said, Angie brought me to the game. I interned with Angie for I think 4 semesters, and I graduated from St. John's in 2018. And January that year, I actually before I graduated, I got a full-time position as the social media manager. So I was running social media accounts for the past 7 years, and it was actually last summer that it came to a point where I was like, they were telling me they're like, yo, you seem to be like you're focusing more on the radar than you are on your job. And this was at the point where actually I was opening up the On the Radar like studio where we shoot everything at now. And I was like, yeah, I think y'all right. I think I'm done. Right. I literally just like I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore, guys. And then it was actually around the time of my 26th birthday, and everybody was extremely supportive of what we've done, and it was very scary though because it's like obviously like the 401k, the health care, like all the things that come with the 9 to 5. That is like right, shit ain't sweet no more. shit ain't sweet no more. So it's gone. But my parents they saw the vision, they believed in me. Kind of like where he said when I quit my job. My parents were like, about time, because they knew how miserable I was doing that job, but because I kind of took everything that I did from that social media job and I applied it to On the Radar. So I was basically doing the same job for two different companies at that point. So I quit, and then safe to say, a year later it worked out. Drake was just on the show, so took the leap of faith and made it work. You feel me?
And that's an amazing thing because it's about like how do you continue to amplify those stories, right? And what topic really comes to mind is legacy. Alex, Christian, I want you to dive into a little bit more about like what legacy means to you, and then what are you contributing to that legacy each and every day.
So currently now, the biggest thing that makes me passionate is the studios I opened up. So I opened up the podcast studios, WTF Media Studios. And the goal was to service our community, keep prices low, but give them like quality content. And so we are up to 18 employees now, or maybe 15, all Black and brown. Yeah, I'm so proud that people are working at the studios and they're able to pay rent in New York City. So to me, it's like, that's the main thing. Like I want, if I have a legacy of sorts, it's like the main thing is just like, I want to help our community. I want to push forward all the knowledge that I have. I want to bestow it on anyone I work with. And yeah, it's like, I just want to keep that going, grow it, and expand to more cities.
You know how you're submerged in something and you have goals, you have things that you're trying to accomplish or on the way to accomplish. My legacy, truthfully, I can say that I haven't said to myself, okay, I'm building a legacy. I haven't said like, oh, this is for my children. I haven't said that yet, but I know that your moral compass, your heart, the things that you sign on to do, the impact of, what you do, your purpose, how much you say to yourself, okay, I need this to happen. And then you step outside of all that stuff and you say, okay, somebody's watching. Somebody is going to come probably behind what I'm doing and say, man, it would be dope if I could have something like that. It would be dope if I could accomplish something like that, or even surpass. It would be dope if I could take some idea of what I've seen someone else do and say, man, I can be that, I can be bigger, I can be greater. So when I step out of everything that I've done, everything that I'm doing, I'm hoping that somewhere in my legacy, someone is saying, man, I can do that and I can be greater. I can step in and say, you know what, I want to accomplish this and I want to move forward from that. So that's what I'm hoping that I'm doing. Anybody have children in here?
That's me. It's just me.
It's just him. He's clapping for his legacy. As you should. So when you think of, you know, your purpose, and you think of how big it is outside of you, that's what I think of when I think of legacy. Like this is way bigger than me.
Sure. You know, I love that so much because it really taps into, you know, where we are right now and how to amplify these stories. And Kwani, I know you are very intentional to the work that you do, to where you show up, protect your energy and your space, right? You know, how do you filter out the opportunities that are for you and the ones that are not?
I think like as I navigate my career, I've learned to, one, as I move through my career, understand that the doors that are closed to you, the doors that close are just, you know, an opportunity for a new direction. As I say, what rejection is redirection. I am a true believer in that. I do believe that we go down the path that we're meant to go down. And as when I think of my acting career and the roles that I want to play, I feel the most fulfilled when I step into a role or a project that I can connect to my personal life. And that's been kind of like a North Star for me as I navigate my career. But I always just follow what feels right to me. You know, whether, you know, going off to college and studying biomedical engineering so I started acting when I was in high school, right? And I go to college, I did my undergrad at Harvard, and I could have continued to study acting then, but I chose to pursue a different passion of mine, and see what that took me, always knowing that I would return back to acting. And I've always just kind of followed my gut in every year or chapter of my life. I'm also a queer actress. That has come with having to, you know, not only come out to my family and my friends, but also be out in this industry and being intentional about that. And also wrapping my mind around what that could mean for me career-wise. Is that gonna put me in a box? Is it not, you know? I always just do the things that feel right to me in my gut. I'm very true to myself. I don't do things to please others, and that's something that you just have to learn early on, because at the end of the day, you go to sleep by yourself and the people that love you, so you need to be happy with the choices you make. I don't know if I'm rambling, but you say like how intentional. Yeah, just like do the things that you're gonna be proud of, and there's things that you're not gonna be proud of, but as long as you're learning from your experiences and you feel like you're walking away from experiences with a little nudge to your confidence, then that usually means you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I really love that because, you know, like when we think about this, right, redirection is so important. And for me, actually, been encountering so many redirections for so long since February started. I was unfortunately impacted by the layoffs, and you know, through that, you want to just apply, and I never really have publicized this. You know, friends know this, but you know, I had a verbal offer from a tech company that ended up taking it back because they flagged what I was doing of just amplifying people's stories. And when I saw that, I'm like, I felt defeated. I'm like, yo, this will help me elevate to the next level. Like, I was going to do this, X, Y, and Z. I had it all planned out. But Kwani, when you say sometimes rejection is redirection, I don't think I would be able to walk in my purpose or feel the feeling that I feel when I make break bread with every individual here, right? To even have conversations with some phenomenal folks here, I'm just like, I saw you on IG, I just liked your post, it went viral, but like, I'm actually saying, we're all sitting in front of these individuals and stuff to say, we belong in this room, let's make things happen. So I just wanted to share that real quick, so I felt it in my heart, you know, and leading into that, you know, one of the things that we talked about is like taking a bet on yourself, but also just self-doubt, moments of just discomfort, or not knowing if I'm ready for the opportunity or if this is something for me. And channeling through that imposter syndrome, right, when it comes into fruition. And I want to open it to the panel, whoever feels comfortable sharing this, but like, how do you silence the noise when these thoughts come into mind?
I think one of the things that I read in recent years I adopted was this idea of building a relationship with your future self, right? The person you want to be 5 years from now, and kind of bringing that person to your present. And I try every morning to connect to my future self, like how would she think, how would she act, how would she show up in this moment. And when I try to step into my future self, that pushes away a lot of fear and insecurity. Because I think of my future self as being fearless and being a boss, so I try to connect to her and how she would show up. And that's helped a lot in just like navigating that imposter syndrome. But also just remembering that everybody's human, everybody feels imposter syndrome. We all just are doing our best and learning along the way, and nobody has it figured out. I mean, when you think of your parents, you realize they don't have it figured out. Nobody has it figured out, even at different levels in your own career path. So just if you put people on a pedestal, that's when you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you're gonna feel like an imposter. I think just equalizing the playing field for yourself and treating people like equals and with respect, and you feel like you belong there.
Speaking of equalizing, Equalizer 3 in theaters now. I lately, God has given me, the Bible talks about a peace that surpasses all understanding. And I do not understand it, and I do not want to. But it's here. And finding the push, how do I silence that noise? I think about the journey thus far. One of my first videos that went viral was a New York prayer video. And I was like, Lord God, thank you, Lord, for everything you give me. Bless me from the crown of my head to my double-soled Timbs. That was the first video that went viral, right? And I was thinking like, man, what should I do next? And for a long time, it was kind of dry, but I was figuring out what I wanted to do. And then I did Denzel Washington doing Dreams and Nightmares as a monologue. I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this, so I had to rhyme like that, to shine like this. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna keep going with that. That's something, that junk went crazy. That video actually went viral the day I decided to give up. That was gonna be my last video that I put on social media, because my pastor, I'm not gonna get emotional.
Making it worse.
No, just play. I did a comedy show for my pastor's birthday, and he told me, he said, this was August 5th, and he said, when you're gonna do great things, everybody can see that. You're gonna do amazing things. And if you need somebody when you're going traveling, call me. If you need money when you're going to do an event, call me. If you need prayer when you're going to do an event, call me. He told me this August 5th. The church went on a cruise that year. They went on a cruise maybe a week later. And my pastor, he preached, they had this thing called WOW, Worship on Wednesday. Everyone's so creative. So he did that. And then the next day, he was on the boat with half the church on the boat. And he went into the gym and he died of a heart attack on a treadmill. So imagine one of the first people that tell me that I got you if you need it, and they're now gone. So the day before the funeral, I put out that video and I was like, yeah, that's it. And I'm at the funeral and I turned my phone off, everything. I was weak, I was through, upset. And then I kept hearing in my mind, he used to say this all the time, if you don't quit, you'll make it. If you don't quit, you'll make it. That sounded crazy to me, but then it made sense at the same time. So I'm sitting in the funeral, wiping my eyes, and people are coming up to me like, yo, bro, congratulations. Yo, you did it, man. Yo, good job, bro. That jump was funny. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? This one video that I did had millions of views overnight, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all of that. I gained 20,000 followers in a day. And in my mind, it kept popping up. If you don't quit, you'll make it. So I look back at that point from now on. Anytime there's any doubt, anytime there's people that say, yo, that's all you do is Denzel? You ain't got nobody else? I mean, I do got a couple people, but you know. But anytime somebody, there's always some opposition. Anytime somebody says something like that, I'll always say, well, I mean, you're just probably not looking enough. But that's not gonna stop you. You're always, in everything that you do, I'm gonna look everybody in your eyeballs. In everything that you do, there's going to be opposition. Or are you gonna let that stop you?
My man, wow, that's decent. That's right there. Alex gave two phenomenal platforms, right? Continue to put creators on, artists on, amplifying the voices of tomorrow, right? When you look at the growth and success of where you are now, what's that one piece of advice that you would want to share to the room who are building right now? Something similar to the path you're on right now.
I think, if you don't stop, you'll make it is basically kind of what I live by too, just in a different thought process. Just like, can't stop, won't stop. It's funny because someone, I mentioned the Drake thing, but the next day after, somebody called me and they said, what's next? And I said, I'm just gonna put my shoes back on, I'm gonna put my hoodie on, and I'm going right back to work. Same thing. I got an artist, local artist from down the block who I mess with, and he comes to the show. They're like, but you just did Drake. And I said, yeah. So, right? And that's because I think it's, we talk about imposter syndrome a lot, and I definitely felt that after that whole event too, because, something amazing happens in your life, and then you're like, okay, how do I follow it up? We talking about viral videos. It's like, in this day and age, you're always looking for like the next thing, right? So you get that one viral video and you're like, okay, cool. How do I follow that up? But really, it's not how you follow it up. It's a marathon for real in this content game. And you can't really be thinking about, okay, like, am I going to get 1 million views tomorrow? Because that's just not realistic. It's about, am I going to get 1 million views in a year from now? Like I told somebody, they're like, oh, I remember when I first started my platform, somebody was like, oh, you're getting all these big artists, but you don't get a lot of views. And I was like, that's cool. I said, it's not about how many views I did in this 1 year, it's about how many views I did 5 years from now. And then that was 5 years ago. We have 140 million views now. So that's just like, and so in like a content space, from a content perspective, it's really about just keep going because, it's funny because I just had this conversation with a good friend of mine, Art, who's working on a platform, who Alex also works with, literally right before we came here. And he was talking, he's like, what I realized, this literally was a conversation I had like an hour ago. He's like, yo, bro, I realized that numbers don't really matter. It's about the quality of the content you put out and just keep putting content out. And I said, yeah, man, that's what I've been trying to tell you this whole time because, like, it's easy to look at numbers and get discouraged and be like, damn, I didn't, I thought this interview or I thought this freestyle, I thought this performance video of an artist was gonna hit, and it didn't hit. But you never know what that's going to be years from now too. Because I think another good example, something that I worked on was like with Ice Spice early on. Ice Spice is when she came on my platform at first, it didn't hit the way that some local, I guess, drill artists or other artists would hit. But then you look 2 years down the line now, and she surpassed all of them, and that was just something that was kind of, I wouldn't say it was a flop at first. It did very well at first, but it didn't do as well as other people. And I think that's another good analogy for life too. I think we spend a lot of times comparing ourselves to other people, and especially if you work in a content space or just in any honestly entertainment job business, whether you're an actress, you're a comedian, you own studios. We often compare ourselves because that's just human nature. Because it's like, damn, we want to be just as good as the next person, or we want to be able to surpass other people in our field because we want to reach those levels too. But it's not about comparing yourself to other people because everybody's journey is different, and we're all on our own pace and we're all on our own journey. And kind of like the redirection or following our path, like it's really just about following that path and staying consistent. Because if you give up today, you never know where you would have been at tomorrow. I think of this great picture of, and it's kind of like it's kind of corny. It's not corny, but it's the picture of the two guys are both digging for diamonds, right? And then there's the one guy who gave up too early, right when he was about to hit the diamonds, and the other guy, he was still digging, and eventually he was going to keep going and reach those diamonds. But that's really how it is. And even in a lot of cases, I feel like even if you, like, let's say for an example, you wanted to be a singer, right? And it wasn't working out for you. I know people who wanted to be singers who their singing career didn't work out, but life redirected them and they became writers for other people, ghost writers, co-writers, whatever. And now they have platinum records with other people. And trust that publishing check, when that publishing check hit, I know people who wrote Christmas records for other artists. Every Christmas, they get a fat ass check. And I promise you, they are not upset that they are not the person on the stage singing those songs. They are happy at home, collecting their bread and minding their business, right? So, and to go back to your original point of building a platform and being able to build something that lasts and building that legacy, I think it's really just about, you got to keep going. We shoot a lot, like, myself, I throw a lot of things at the dartboard, and not everything hits, and that's okay because it's not supposed to hit. It wasn't meant to hit at that time, but things do hit. And I want every creative in here to know who's starting a platform or who is going to be, an actress, actor, comedian, own their own studio space. Whatever you're doing is really just about keep going, because life will eventually redirect you on that path. But if you allow life to kind of tilt you off that path or crash out a little bit, like, you will never know where you would have been able to end up if you just didn't keep your head straight, and it's really just about keep going, honestly. And I know that, again, that sounds kind of cliche and everybody says keep going, but when I used to be told that by like the Charlemagnes and the Angies in my early 20s, I was like, man, like, my time is now. But now that I'm 27, I realized that wasn't my time, and that they needed to tell me that, but I was just too young to understand what they meant by that. And now that I'm 27 and I still have a lot more things that I want to do, I still don't feel like I've reached the level that I want to reach yet, but I understand better now what they were trying to tell me. Because I think when we're in a space where we don't have what we want yet, we don't have these accolades, we don't have these accomplishments, we're like, damn, why am I not here yet? And it's just because it's just not that time. But you got to work to get to that time. And once you get to that point, then you realize it was like, yo, the people who were telling me this 5-6 years ago, they were right. I just have to wait my turn. Listen to this.
I would never guess 27.
But to piggyback on that, keep going, and consistency is probably the best way to success. Because I have people, everyone I work with, like some big names, Charlemagne, Andrew Schultz, like all of these people outwork everyone. They're up earlier than me. I'm getting texts like, hey, where's this work? They're going to sleep later than me. I'm like, when do you guys sleep? I don't get it. But so I apply that knowledge, and when I'm producing other people's shows, I tell them like, hey, just keep going, keep pushing it, put it everywhere you can think of, because you never know when it's gonna hit. Like, it takes just one video for your form of content to hit. It's so important to keep going. I think the biggest thing that discourage, or actually the worst thing is living with regret of not trying. But it's so scary to take that chance and put yourself out there. but it's way worse to live with regret. Like right now, I'm an introvert. I'm terrified being up here right now. When he asked me to do this, I was like, give me a day to think this over. But it's like, I'm like, you know what? Let me just take the chance. Maybe some knowledge in here can help someone out there. And it's like, let me just do it. And this is me taking that chance. And you know what? I think I'm doing all right, but you guys need to judge. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, go with your gut, take the chance, even if it doesn't work out, try something else. But the worst thing is never try.
Facts.
I want to, in terms of like following your path, you need to trust your path, even if like you feel like it's taking a lot longer than you want it to. And I'm a big advocate in pivoting in your life. A lot of people, they discover their passion later in life and they feel like it's too late. And I'm a big advocate of just going for it, no matter your age, and pivoting it. And obviously, there's some things that you can't, start later on in life. Like, let's say for athleticism, right? Your age works against you, right? But for most things, it's never too late to start. But also just have grace for yourself. Like, I'm all about going hard for your passion and taking the leap, but at the same time, trust that if you are dedicating time to your family and other areas of your life, that's good too, and that will fuel your passion as well. I think that, I'm an actor, the actors are on a strike right now. And one of the things that you come to realize is like, what happens when your passion goes away? Or you can't really like live it out? What else do you have? So in your pursuit of your passion, I think you should also like nurture your personal life, your relationships, your friendships, your family relationships, yourself, take care of yourself, because that's ultimately what's gonna make your passion even more fulfilling, when you feel like well-rounded in all areas of your life. And that if there comes a time, if you hit a rut where you can't pursue that passion, there's other things that you can lean on that are gonna make you happy, that you can create inspiration from, and that is gonna fuel your work in the long run. So, and I also think it's also something I'm really big on going hard on my passion, but taking care of my personal life. And I even found that in my career, there's been like casting directors have been like, you feel like you're young, but you feel like you've lived a lot. And it's because like I'm just very present in other areas of my life and getting other things going. And that's all part of the dream, the whole dream. My whole dream doesn't necessarily come down to just being an actress. There's other things. And I think that that's helped me navigate it, because in a way, it's like, yes, being successful in this career is what I want, but it's not necessarily what I need. If it doesn't work out, there's other things that are gonna like make me super happy as well. And I just like to encourage people to just take care of other areas of their lives as they pursue their passions, especially in the creative world and the non-traditional pursuits in life. So.
Yeah. I want to say something that Alex had pointed out real quick. So he was talking about Charlemagne and how people be up early. The one thing that I forgot to mention too is like in this space we're also competing against a lot of other people. All of us are, right? But it's about you wanting it more than anybody else. And I think that's something that people don't always tell you. Is like you have to want it more than everybody else you're competing against. There's 1,000 other actresses, there's 1,000 other comedians, there's 1,000 other studios, there's 1,000 other platforms, but what makes yours stand out and how bad do you want it more than anybody else? Like how are you willing to work harder than the 1,000 other people that you're competing against to get where you want to be? Because if it's not you, it could be one of them, and they could be successful in their own right, but if you want to be, the Charlemagne, the god of radio, or the Angie Martinez of this, you have to want it more than everybody else too.
Wow. Well, as we kind of bring it all full circle. And in the last question here, there's a framework I kind of want to share with you that really changed my life, and it's called the 4 Ps. I was in a panel conversation with Trevor Noah, and it kind of relates to the passion here. And he said his mom incorporated or has shared these 4 Ps in his life. He said, when you finally figure out what you're passionate about, try to transition that passion to purpose. Passion to purpose. That's really sometimes really hard to do. But he said when you're living in your passion and you convert it to your purpose and you're doing things that you love, that's ultimately where you'll find your peace. Passion, purpose to peace. And then he finally had to end it off. He said when you're living in your peace zone, that's when the prosperity, abundance, financial, legacy. And if we just can go quickly down the line, out of all the 4 Ps that we just mentioned, where do you feel like you are right now?
Okay. Denzel has that's my go-to. Just leave me alone. No, but he said this one thing. I believe he was quoting somebody else, and they said, "True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you sent beforehand to indicate that it's already yours." I'll say that one more time. True desire in your heart for anything good is God's proof to you sent beforehand to indicate that it's already yours. I almost forgot it because I almost didn't say it in Denzel's voice. I only can memorize it if I say it in his voice. It's already assigned to you. It's gonna happen. You're here because you're pursuing something, right? Right? Yeah. Talk to me, come on, get okay, come on. Pero like, you're here because you're pursuing something, right? Yeah. It's gonna happen. The one thing that I want, the place that I want most is the peace. Because with peace, I feel considered by God. I know that there's prosperity. There's the other 2 Ps. Purpose, yeah. Passion fruit is purpose. Paper. Hey, that's not, don't get me confused. No, but there's passion, there's purpose, there's peace, and there's prosperity. I want the peace. There's so much going on, and mental health is so much greatly talked about these days. If I can get peace, because there was a moment in life that I had no peace, trying to figure out my purpose, trying to be prosperous, trying to do the other P. Passionate, trying to be passionate. I was trying to find my passion. For me, all those things, if I had all those things, ultimately what I had was peace. So right now, with every blessing, with every lesson, everything I get, everything I don't get, I know that what I've done thus far has brought me to where I am, and I know that there's a longer journey. There's more to go, and it may not have to do with me. My bill can stop right here, and somebody else can pick up where I left off. But ultimately, where I am right now is I'm at peace.
If we could just kind of keep it to like, I gave him a heads up. I was about to set him up for success. But really quick, if you could just say, you know, where you are in the 4 piece and just a quick little.
Got you. I'll try to make this quick. Well, I know I'm not at my piece yet, and I think I'm also grown enough to admit that, but I am, you know, working towards that. I feel like I'm really in my passion and my purpose stage right now, and I'm not good at impressions like bro right here, but anybody ever, I don't want to try it. Anybody ever seen like Too Fast, Too Furious, the second one, right? There's a line that Tyrese has in there where he goes, "We hungry," right? And I'm starving every day. I'm starving every day, and every day I wake up and I go outside and I'm like, yo, we gonna get some money today. We gonna make some history. We gonna do something. And I'd say that in the music industry, especially in my field, I live in the chaos, right? And that's why I can't find my peace yet. But I'm working to find that balance between the chaos and the peace to be at that middle ground. But I'm hoping to achieve it one day. But right now I'm cool and I'm comfortable within that chaos and that purpose and that what's the other one? Passion. Thank you. It's a lot to remember. I'm sorry, but yeah, right. But that's where I'm at right now. But I'm starving every single day, and that's why we gonna keep pushing forward for sure. Gosh, I like that.
Yeah, I would say that I'm between peace and prosperity. In the last 3 years, I've finally reached the point in my career where I've been able to sustain myself through just acting. And that's been a huge accomplishment because so early on in my career, I had a 9 to 5 in the bioengineering world, and I was doing both, and it was hard. It was hard. Like I literally would be on set filming a movie and then going home and working a job. And I did that for years, and it was really difficult. And I did feel a real sense of peace when I'm like, wow, I'm just an actor now. I don't have to feel shame in saying I'm just an actor because this is what I do. However, I know that I'm in a room full of creatives, entrepreneurs. For a big chunk of your pursuit, you're going to have to balance a side hustle, a day job, while pursuing this creative passion or starting a company. And I want you to recognize that there's peace in that too. I found that being able to pay my bills, not having to worry about, have a financial burden, brought peace to me while I pursued acting early on. And I think that people don't talk about that enough. We want to rush to being able to just do and, live out our passion full time. But for those that are in the in-between where you're juggling both, there's peace in that too, that you are handling your business. You're learning from those side jobs, those day jobs, and you're fueling that into your next thing. And in retrospect, you will see that it might suck and it's hard, but there's peace in that too, that there's a peace of mind that you're taking care of business and you're taking care of yourself. And so I just want to say that.
Try to make this quick. I thank God I'm scratching the surface of prosperity. My passion in production is what got me here. My purpose of helping others gives me peace at night, and thankfully it's working. So yeah.
Please, give them a round of applause. This was amazing. This is what we call legacy. This is what we call leaving a mark. I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being with us, for being yourselves, for sticking with us as well. If no one gives me no cue on time, I'm diving in. But I just want to say thank you again for joining us at the Futuro conference. We are going to be transitioning over to a creative mixer with our friends with La Nueva Link. I think it's an amazing time for us to mingle, to build, to network, and to make this happen. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank the panelists one more time for being here.
Thank you all so very much.
Before we do that, I actually want to bring up the founder of La Nueva Link.
Yes,
Deborah
Deb.
Renteria. Come here, Deborah.
Go, Deb.
And this woman, you want to talk about community? She built this. Her and her partner built this from scratch with La Nueva Link, and I'm really just impressed. It really just brings people together, you know, from professional creative spaces. And thank you so much, Deborah, for all the work that you do. Some of this stuff it's unsung. You don't get your flowers, but thank you for all that you do. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So Brianna Mendez, Deborah Interior, La Nueva Link.
Yes, thank y'all, and I don't want to make y'all sit here and listen to one more person. But I'm Deborah Interior, one of the co-founders of La Nueva Link. La Nueva Link is on a mission to really redefine how we show up in different spaces in corporate America. So we're a network for Latinx creatives and professionals, and you can find us on mainly Instagram right now, and that's where you can click the link and sign up. It's free. We're over 1,000 members, all connecting in various spaces and mainly on a private Slack channel. But we're all about bringing visibility to La Gente doing the work, that's y'all. We're also all about supporting different brands and institutions that when they're talking about us, that they include us. So we're also consultants in that space. And we like to, when we do things, to try and put a spin on it. And so we have this link up bingo that I feel like someone's gonna hand to you. And you're gonna have a sheet and you're gonna be asked to mingle and grab a drink. And we're gonna, you get to be the moderator now. You get to connect with different people. You get to connect the first people to connect the first 5. I think we get prizes. Do we have prizes? We have prizes.
Got prizes.
So find us, give us your sheet. But really it's about getting to know each other.